chapters. I have 3 chapters left to continue, which are The Right Medicine, Life Aspired, and The Dead Return. That's all the chapters I need to finish. Anyways, let's go start again. Chapters. Okay, I'm okay. Chapter 6, The Right Medicine. So, Tom woke up from his very long sleep. He noticed that it
Don't
was
make the mistake about Becky.
Yeah, I won't. I already know what I mean to say. So, Tom had woke up from his very long sleep and he noticed that it was morning already, but he didn't feel like waking up, but he knew he would get into trouble if he wouldn't wake up. So, he climbed down his bedroom and he went downstairs and noticed that Aunt Polly was preparing breakfast. He stayed silent. Usually and normally, Tom would be very excited of waking up, but usually he doesn't like mornings. But if it's a nice day and a very good day, he would sure be lucky and happy to wake up, and he would be glad to wake up. It would be his pleasure. He'd be obliged to do it. But today was different. He felt like staying in his bed and saying nothing. It's because something traumatizing, scary, and unbelievable had happened yesterday. And he just felt sad and he started not to mention it. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Huck and Tom made a will with blood, I guess. He made a will in the old barn after escaping, as I forgot to mention. Sorry about that. Yeah, the oath. The promise that they
Wouldn't tell about the murder.
They wouldn't tell about the murder.
Because they would get killed.
I don't really know if they would get killed or probably Angel Joe would ignore that, but I'm not sure. Anyways, so Tom went downstairs and he sat in a nearby chair near his bedroom window. Near the kitchen, I guess. And he sat there for some minutes. And Aunt Polly noticed he wasn't acting himself. A few days passed and Tom wouldn't talk. He wouldn't be that adventurous as he was before. He just felt like he was a different boy. He just felt like Sid, but sadder. You know what I mean? But
he was depressed.
Yeah, something like that. Because
he's not so depressed.
He's not really depressed. He's just traumatized and doesn't feel like talking. He doesn't really have anyone to talk about or feel safe to talk about the murder because he feels like someone, at least maybe someone would betray him with the murder thing. I don't know. But he had someone to talk with, which was Huck, but he just didn't feel safe outside, and it just felt, very, very, very unsafe for Tom. It just gives him a traumatizing idea like that.
Bad vibe. I'm just playing.
Give me that. Please.
Yes, Mom. Go on.
Okay. So a few days passed and Aunt Polly decided to do something about it. She looked in the women's magazines how to cure something like what Tom had.
Warts. How to cure warts.
No, not the warts. So she searched and searched. She read as much magazines and found so much cures. Like she started giving Tom cold baths at night. And while he was about to sleep, she covered him in very thick blankets and pillows for him to sweat. But all of them just made Tom quiet and more sadder. And just so many things just made Tom sad. He felt sad, depressed. He felt lonely. No. He felt kind of heartbroken from, Becky. Becky's anger. Yeah. But just please don't make noise or make any squeaky noise.
Yes, I will. Will? I won't.
Okay, where am I? Okay. So, Aunt Polly decided to take a visit from her friends. she walked all the way there to her friend's house and noticed that they had a
Parasol.
And they know.
Yes, Mom.
Don't take it. Okay. And she walked all the way to her friend's house and said, Tom has feeling, kind of bored lately. I don't know why. He used to be like very naughty, but now he's just quiet and he doesn't do much today. And they decided, why don't we make a very great medicine for him? I bet this will work. Trust me. Come back to me if it doesn't, but I'm very sure it always works, always. You don't know the magic of this. They said. They kept on talking and bragging about this beautiful medicine, and it was probably gonna work. Let's go find out. And she kept on talking, and she said, it's just the best thing you could ever ask for. Polly, come on, she said. Try out this medicine, and I'm very sure that he will be back to normal. And so Aunt Polly decided to take it because why not take the advice from her friend, she said. She took the medicine they made and she walked back all the way to her house. And she said, here, Tom, take a sip. Tom said, yes, Aunt Polly. He took a sip of it, even just a tiny lick. He noticed that this was not the medicine for him, though it kind of made him feel okay because he was acting himself again. Aunt Polly was pleased, but you want to know what Tom felt? Let's go find out. He was screaming in pain. So much stuff happened. He just felt like this medicine was not okay. It was made of chili peppers. I know y'all have heard it, but he just kept on screaming and screaming.
Painkiller.
It was something like painkiller, I guess so. And Aunt Polly just felt okay that Tom was acting himself again because he is usually loud and he was quiet for the past few days. And so she left the room and saying, well, Tom, if you're not feeling better today, you're getting some tomorrow. Tom, in his mind, what did you think he thought about? Let's find out.
He started to be less sad now.
Yeah, he decided not to be much sad because he didn't want one more, not even a tiny sip of that medicine. Even the whole spoon could make him scream for a whole night, I bet. Because chili peppers are very hot.
A whole bottle, he would cry.
He would cry in pain. He'd even have to visit the doctor.
That's why it's called painkiller. Well, it doesn't
It'll kill your pain. Okay. I guess the medicine was named painkiller and it was made of chili peppers. I don't know. Okay. I've experienced
relieve pain.
Oh yeah. I've experienced chilies before and they're extremely hot. I don't think you'd want to try one. Trust me, it's very bad. But it's okay in your opinion. If you want to try one, sure, I guess. Anyways, let's continue and let's go back to our wonderful adventure.
I forgot. Tom Huckleberry. Tom Huckleberry. Tom Huckleberry. Shortcake.
Okay, so after that, all of the screaming and pain he had today, he decided to be less sad, like what I said, and he started to walk around. He started to roam around. He started to roam around the place.
Hey, look at this.
But wait, he noticed that Aunt Polly had left the medicine on the floor. What do you think Tom would do? Let's find out right now. Let's go back to our adventure and focus. So,
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
And so he picked up the medicine and he said, I wonder what this medicine could cure. Maybe the cat, he thought. I mean, that was the only thing or animal he had left as company. So he said, why don't we? Let's see what he was going to do. He started to take a spoon of the chili pepper medicine. He shoved it into the cat's mouth. And wait, before we see what happens, let's say why Tom did it. And it was because the cat, it was always lazy and it would always sleep on the couch all day. So he wanted to help the cat, and he thought maybe this will make the cat more active, he thought, and this is the reason why, and I'm telling it to you right now. Enjoy. Okay. So he said, well, actually, thank you, please. Okay. So he thought, let's give it a shot, because why not? I bet the cat will be very active after I give him some of this medicine. He couldn't wait. So he poured a whole spoon of the chili pepper medicine. He shoved it into the cat's mouth, and you know what happened? The cat was on fire. I mean it. It was on more pain than Tom, because he gave him a whole spoon of it. And it ran around the house. It bumped bookshelves, vases, and the plants outside. And so after a few minutes, it jumped out the window. Tom was laughing so hard he didn't realize the mess he had made with the cat. And also it was kind of the cat's fault and Tom for giving him the medicine too. He was laughing so hard, harder than you could believe. It was unbelievable for Tom to laugh that hard that day. Aunt Polly heard what happened and she said, "What happened to the cat? And why are you laughing?" she said. But Tom was laughing too hard to listen to Aunt Polly. He was just thinking about what had happened with the cat. Key, can you come here? Okay, now we can continue our wonderful story. Please stop. Okay, so a few days passed and Tom realized it was the worst day of his life, he said. So your favorite boy, Tom, something he thought in his mind was just, "Gee, come back!
Yeah.
Come back and sit down here."
Yes, I will.
There you go. Now we can continue to our wonderful story. So your favorite boy, Tom, everyone adores him. He said to himself it was the worst day of his life. You want to figure out why?
It's school time.
Yeah, it was Monday, and that meant school. Tom hated school more than he did
work.
He hated work, yeah.
I need to use the bathroom.
And so, Tom said, I guess I have to face this today. And so he walked all the way to school, and he said, well, it's time to go to school. And so he saw Becky Thatcher outside. He wanted to make up for what he said. And if you don't remember what he did, he basically he really admitted to Becky. Becky Thatcher is basically, Tom, he engaged to her second, but he was engaged to Amy Lawrence first. As you didn't know, I'll just continue if you didn't really remember anything about it. Anyways, let's continue. And so, Tom said, oh, I have an idea. Let's see what our favorite boy Tom wanted to do. He said, it's time to do it. He started cartwheeling on the staircases. He jumped over the fence. Yeah, he handstand on one hand. He did everything to get Becky's attention, even with just one look. Becky looked at Tom and she said to her friend loudly to embarrass Tom, "Some people think they're so great that they even do so many tricks." And so Tom felt very, I have a good word for this, annoyed? That's not really good, but yeah. He felt annoyed from Becky and he ran away. He found Huck and said, "Sometimes things can't be as good as I remember," Huck said. And then he saw his friend Joe Harper crying and said, "What's wrong, Joe?" And Joe Harper said, "It's because my mom punished me for something I didn't do." And he said, "Well, what did you not do?" And Joe said, "Well, you know about the cream. Basically, my mom blamed it on me for, eating it, even though she was the one who threw it out, which it was basically the reason was it's so sour." But yes, that's what happened. Joe just kept on complaining about his life, about why his mother, made him get punished by not something he didn't do. He just said, "This is not fair," he said. "I just feel like, going away." Tom said, "Exactly. So many bad things that happened to us today. First, Becky broke my heart even more. I'm now heartbroken. Not heartbroken. Extra heartbroken. I am double heartbroken. Literally anything you could feel." And so Joe Harper said, "Well, I feel more sadder than you. Can you believe it?" But Tom didn't really believe Joe. And he noticed that his friend Huck was there too. And Huck said, "Well, it's time to run away then. I mean, life isn't fair here in St. Petersburg. I mean, what happened to you two anyways? But why not we go?" So Huck said, "Let's go take some food and make a raft," he said. Tom said, "Yeah, sure." Joe Harper said, "I guess we can go." So Tom made the raft, Joe prepared everything, and Huck took all the food and stole it. Basically, because he doesn't really is a good boy, but he is a good boy. He's not a good boy, and he is a good boy. And so, your favorite boys went on this crazy adventure, and they said, "Let's go now. We're already ready. What do you think we even are missing?" And Tom said, "I don't think we're missing anything." But then Huck said, "Wait for me, you're missing me." And so Tom said, "Oh, right, we're forgetting Huck." So Huck climbed in and they went to an amazing, adventurous, interesting island.
Jackson's Island.
But not an ordinary island, sorry about that. It was Jackson's Island, yes. A very beautiful island which no one had lived in.
The red-handed, the destroyer of the seas.
Yeah, better. And so, Tom and Huck were able to reach the island. And they said, "What a beautiful island," they said. Huck said, "It sure is." Joe Harper said, "It's not bad. Let's set up camp here." So Joe found some old cloth near the island. Tom set up the tent and Huck made a fireplace. They all cooked some delicious food. But wait, this doesn't make sense at all. I mean, how did they make food if
They stole food.
have food? Oh, right, I remember. Joe prepared everything, exactly. So they all ate up lunch and went to bed. And so the next day, they had a nice big swim because they were feeling hot under the sun. They swam for a few hours and then got back up. They dried their clothes. They got their dried clothes and they decided to say, "Let's find some treasure. I'm bored staying on this island. I need to have some fun today." So they looked around the place. They found so many streams and small puddles. They found very wondrous plants. They even found nothing. They didn't find anything, but the boys were too happy to even notice they got nothing from their treasure hunt. Few days passed and they started getting bored in the island, but they didn't mention it because they wanted to stay, just a bit longer. They said in their minds, they thought, just a bit longer, nothing will hurt about that. They felt some homesickness,
growing inside them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Please stop.
Yes, Mom.
So after that, Tom said, I'm kind of bored staying here. I have an idea. I'll go visit St. Petersburg again. And go and figure out what's going on. But he decided to, not go there yet because he didn't have, the raft was gone and he had nowhere to go and have transportation. And so he said, let's wait for a while. And so they noticed something happening. The bombing was occurring, and they said, wait.
What chapter are you now?
I'm in, oh no, I forgot. By the way, I'm in chapter 7. Life as a pirate. I'm so sorry I didn't mention the chapter, but I promise I will. Now, yes. So they noticed there was a bombing occurring. All the ships in St. Petersburg were out. They were wondering what happened, they said. And Huck said, I don't know. But wait, Huck said, I think I know. They're finding I think they're finding a dead body. I know. I'm gonna make a Huck voice impression. And so they said, they're finding someone who drowned. They said, but Tom said, why do you think that? Tom said, and he said, it's because someone drowned, last summer.
Bill Turner drowned.
Yeah, Bill Turner drowned. He said, I'm pretty sure they're looking for someone, but who drowned? Said Joe. Tom said,
I know.
It's us. Okay, never mind. He sounds like a baby. And so Huck said, oh yeah, you're right. We must be heroes, he said. We must be the top of the town.
Blah 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 blah. Oh no.
Oh my, Tom said. You're really sure? And Huck said, I'm pretty sure. Joe and Huck and Tom were celebrating. They were very happy. They felt like they were heroes for once. They felt like they were something that people didn't think of them as boys only. They thought that people didn't only think of them as boys. They thought that people thought of them as heroes, the most amazing boys in town. But Huck said, well, it's time to sleep, he said. Tom said, yeah, you're right. I think it is sure time to sleep. I mean, it's pretty late. So they all went to sleep. Okay. So Tom, Huck, and the other boys, Joe, Harper, started to sleep. But Tom couldn't sleep. He thought about Aunt Polly. He felt sad about it. And so he said, why not go visit them for a while? He wrote on a piece of bark and he made a message to Aunt Polly that they were safe and they weren't dead yet. Because he felt like, Aunt Polly was missing. He went back to St. Petersburg. But wait, this doesn't make sense this time. Like, how can Tom get there if I just said before he had no use of transportation? But he noticed, but wait, don't worry, our smart Tom has saved the day from his own trouble because he paddled on a log to reach St. Petersburg. What a smart idea. If there's no boats, he can just float on a log.
If I were painting a fence, that would be super fun. Yay, I want to do it. Ha ha, la la. Do this.
Never mind.
Tom Huckleberry, Tom Huckleberry, Tom Huckleberry, so cute.
So he reached St. Petersburg after 2 hours of swimming. believe it? Fun fact. Not a fun fact, but I have a question for all of you. Have you ever went swimming for more than 2 hours? I don't know. Maybe? But if you did, that's pretty impressive. Good job. Anyways, let's go continue. He was paddling for 2 hours on the raft. The boat. No, the log. They were paddling and paddling. He was paddling and paddling. He reached St. Petersburg. Finally, he thought, it's been 2 hours straight. I can't believe it.
You can't believe it! We found a list! Keep Tom.
And so, he thought, well, it's time to go. And then he walked up the streets of St. Petersburg. It's been almost 2 weeks he has been on the island. He thought, I miss home, but I kind of forgot where it is. He walked and walked, and he noticed a white fence. You think that's kind of familiar? Where do you think that happened? Who painted it? And who was the one who painted it? And how? That fence seemed so familiar to Tom. He noticed that it was his home. If you noticed, congrats. Anyways, let's go continue our marvelous story. So Tom had walked all the way to his house, but he noticed that the light was on and that someone was inside or watching the door. So he thought, I guess it's time to be sneaky. He turned on his sneaky mode and he snuck inside. Have you ever snuck? I don't know. So he snuck inside his room, near a little table. He went under and he could see a perfect vision. Under there, he could see the tables, lamps, and even Aunt Polly, his own aunt. He noticed that she was crying with Joe's mother. He said, what has happened? Why are they here? But he started to get his memory back and said, oh, I know. I remember, he said. Okay. He said that he felt really sad that Aunt Polly was sobbing. Aunt Polly said that Tom was a good boy and that he was very nice. Sid said it was kind of his fault for doing it. And Mary said that the boys will rest in peace. And Joe's mother just kept on complaining and cried about why Joe didn't deserve to get punished. Now she kind of realized what happened. So Joe's mom sobbed and sobbed. Aunt Polly talked about that Tom was okay and a very good boy, even though he was very naughty and mischievous. But he still had a good heart, she said. They didn't deserve to be mean to... They didn't deserve that, Sid said. But then they had no choice and it was getting late, so Aunt Polly went to bed and everyone left. Sid, Mary, Jim went to sleep. And so Tom went to Aunt Polly and he said, well, sorry, Aunt Polly, I guess it's time to go. And he kissed Aunt Polly and he remembered that now that he noticed that he was having a funeral. Sorry for not explaining that. And he said, well, I guess it's time to start a new plan. He jumped out of Aunt Polly's window but noticed it wasn't his window, so he fell to the ground. But luckily he survived the fall. He went back to his little log. He saw it floating away, but he was able to get it. And he went back to the island and slept. And he said, I guess it's time to start a new plan, he thought. Actually, he was going to give Aunt Polly a piece of bark. You remember what he said? He wrote on a piece of bark and he was about to give it to Aunt Polly. But then he had the idea of coming into his funeral. Let's see. And so he went to sleep and he said, I guess let's start a new idea for now. Okay, we're done with this chapter. Now, let's do the very last beautiful, amazing, unbelievable chapter, which is The Dead Return. Have you ever had any relatives who came back from the dead? I don't think it's possible. It's just a novel anyways. Let's start. So if you're wondering what's gonna happen, I will be telling you what happens. What happens next is shocking.
Yeah.
So, Aunt Polly said, I guess it's time for his funeral. It's Sunday. She said, but it will be in the afternoon and it will take a while. It's time to get ready. Huck and Joe felt like going home and they admitted it. Are you shocked about this? Because Tom's only friends had to just leave him? Imagine if you were only alone on an island. How would you feel? I don't think you could survive on your own. And so Tom said, wait, don't go. Huck said, yeah, let's not go, he said. But then Joe said, I just want to go already. Tom made fun of Joe, but Joe didn't care. And Huck admitted as well that he wanted to go home. And so Tom said, whatever, wait for as long as you want. He thought about, maybe let's not tell the plan. Maybe let's tell the plan. Maybe let's not. Maybe let's do it. I don't know what to do. He thought and thought, but then he noticed that was the only way for stopping them. And he said, well, fine, I'll tell you the plan. He told the plan. Everyone was shocked. I mean, like all the boys were shocked. Not all, except Tom. And so they said, all right, let's do it. So afternoon came and they paddled on the log together and reached the church. Everyone was in, and Tom and Huck and Joe, Huck hid beside the table which led to the entrance. Are you excited what happens next? Let's find out. Wait, let's make a guess first. So they hid on the table. But then, let's think. If you already thought of an idea, good. Let's go continue. So, the priest was saying good stuff about the boy. It continued for about 30 or 20 minutes. And so, Tom said, well, it's time to go. But Joe was kind of distracted because he was very sad. He heard his mother sobbing and heard the good words the priest had told everyone about them. And so Tom said, enough crying, Joe, let's go. And so they walked into the room, slowly and slowly. And they were all surprised and said, Tom and Joe and Huck are alive? They were all celebrating, and when Aunt Polly saw Tom, she hugged and kissed him. Joe's mother too. They felt happy. Are you happy that all the boys are home? Happy birthday! It's no one's birthday.
How come you just said happy? Look.
And so Tom said, Aunt Polly, here, let's go home. But Aunt Polly said, oh, Tom, I've missed you. So they went home. The boys were finally home. And so Tom said, Aunt Polly. And Aunt Polly said, oh, shut it, Tom. She said, you've made me cry and made us all sad for a week already, she said. And Tom said, yeah, I'm sorry about that, but I still did dream of you, he said. Aunt Polly said, really? I don't believe you. Tom explained his dream. He said that he dreamt about, you remember when he went to visit Aunt Polly and he recognized the fence and all? Yeah, he told what exactly happened when he came. And so Aunt Polly was shocked. He was shocked. And she admired Tom and said, you dream like a prophet, she said. And Tom felt amazed and felt like a hero from that. So Aunt Polly said, well, Miss Harper is going to hear this after I'm a minute older, she said. She walked and ran all the way to Mrs. Harper. And she explained the dream to her. And Mrs. Harper said something which would embarrass Tom and Aunt Polly. And so she explained that Joe said that Tom was here that night, and Aunt Polly was red, which meant she was angry. Okay. And so Aunt Polly bursted out inside their room and said, "Tom," she pinched on the ear, and Aunt Polly explained how Tom had embarrassed her in front of Miss Harper, and Tom said, "Well, I'm sorry, but I did kiss you goodnight and wrote on a piece of bark, but when I got the idea of the funeral, things just changed." Aunt Polly decided for a while. She stood there for a few minutes and said, "Well, my curiosity is getting the better of me," and she looked into Tom's pockets into her room. It took her a while, but she found the note, and she believed Tom about kissing her goodnight. And so Aunt Polly said, "Well, I can forgive Tom, even though he has committed a million sins." And that's the story. We're done with the chapter. Yay! Okay. First of all, hey, look at the ball. The ball! Where's the ball? Yay, give me the ball! Catch me and touch me if you touch me. Yay! Ah! I got the ball! Come on. We can play together. Let's play catch. Yeah! 3, 2, 1. Wait, I want to do this one. Get the ball. Don't let me play with it all now. Come on, let's play catch now. 3, 2, 1. Okay! Oh, no. Oh. Yes! Just go back. Go back. No, I'm scared. You remember the Tom Huckleberry song? Tom Huckleberry, Tom Huckleberry, Tom Huckleberry, just do it. You missed. Let's get it. Go, do it. Woo! Oh, they got it. Quick, do. Spin. Woo! Not so hard. Oh, wait, you throw this time. Tom Huckleberry. Oh no! We have a dog. Put it back. There. I don't think that's how you play volleyball. Come on, just hold this calmly. It's okay. Oh, bad choice. It's okay. Just go. I won't. Be focused. Okay, fine.